Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Friday, the 12th of February. In Genesis chapter 45, Joseph can hold it in no longer, and he reveals his identity to his brothers. And he says, verse 3, Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still living?" But his brothers were not able to answer him because they were terrified at his presence. And I can understand their terror. Here is this younger brother of theirs that all those years ago they sold into slavery. They never forgotten about him, but they must have assumed that he was an ignominious slave somewhere or dead. And suddenly here, this ruler of Egypt, with their lives in his hand, their future supply of grain at his call, is this brother. I'm not surprised they were terrified. And I was wondering, I wonder if they made the link that they thought, oh, here we bow down to him. That was that vision he had all those years ago. I'm not sure that they made that connection. For us, it was 8 chapters earlier, sort of one reading, maybe two. For the brothers, it was years and years and years and years ago. And so much had happened in between. Probably later on they did remember, but at that point, it probably didn't spring to mind. And it got me thinking about how they'd understood those dreams in the first place. And when Joseph, as this young brother of theirs, stands up and says, "Oh, I had a dream last night. We were gathering wheat and our sheaves of grain were in the field. Mine stood upright and yours all bowed down to it." And I can imagine those brothers say, "What? Not a chance. There's no way that's going to happen." And they would have understood it in their context. And I can imagine them saying, "What's going to happen? You think we're going to have a family feast and Father's going to give you another beautiful robe and we're all going to get up and bow down to you? Leave the table, gather around your table and bow down." No, not going to happen. Not a chance. You're our younger brother. That's it. You stay there. You might be Dad's favorite, but that's the end of it. There's no ways they could have conceived that Joseph would one day be ruler of Egypt and have their life in his hands. And it got me to think that we have God's word to us, and there's so much that we don't understand, that we can't get our heads around, where God gives us promises, "I will never leave you or forsake you." And very often in our life we sit there and think, but where is God? I don't see him. I feel on my own and forsaken. But God's word is true. God is true. Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." The word they speak is always true, and we can hold on to it. And we must remember that, like the brothers, in this context, we don't get it. But God's word is true. And one day we might be before the ruler of Egypt on our knees, and suddenly that word will come true. So be encouraged as you hang on to God's word, believing it, trusting it, and knowing that what God has said, he is the God of truth. His words are true. It will happen exactly as he promised. We might not get it, see it, anticipate it, get our heads around it, but that's our problem, not God's. So we can rely on him, we can trust in him, we can walk with him and know that he looks after us. Hold on to that and be blessed.